Hi, boys and girls. It's episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Episode 4 tonight of Storytime with Ken, or that's me, or Grandpa, or whatever you'd like to call me. My own grandchildren, if they're watching, Flynn and Lyra, my rat-faced Caporians. They call me Grandpa. You can too, or you can call me Ken, whatever you'd like. Just don't call me late to dinner, okay? All right, Flynn and Lyra, I assume you're watching, so they will be rating. You can join in with them rating Grandpa's puns tonight. You can put a thumbs up if you like the pun, thumbs down if you think it stinks and it's a terrible pun or joke, okay? So you can watch for those. We're live broadcasting these shows from my library in my house with my producer friend here, because I don't know how to do this myself. This Facebook and YouTube stuff's beyond my limited capabilities for sure. So the bookstore's closed because of the coronavirus, but we're down there working every day. We are talking to people more on the phone and the computers and emails, and we're mailing out books for free. If you need help picking a book out, our staff would be happy to help you choose something for children, adults. We have all kinds of books, from cheap used books to really, really rare, expensive books, and everything in between. So we're trying to figure out ways to sell books with keeping the social distancing in mind. So you can call the shop. You can at 801-521-3819. You can email the shop at books@kensandersbooks.com, or you can write us the old-fashioned way as well. We have a giant book wall that's outside the store. You don't have to come in, and it has hundreds and hundreds of free books in it that you're welcome to stop by the shop anytime we're during normal business hours, even though we're closed, 10 to 6, and pick out some free books. So I think that's pretty much. We have, episode 1 was Alice in Wonderland, and then we did The Princess and the Goblin, and we did the Harlan Quiz books, and we've done Shel Silverstein and a whole bunch of others. We have all of these books at the store. We're way behind on our cataloging right now. But if you call the shop or email us if you're after a favorite book, we'd be happy to help you. And I do want to give a special shout out tonight. We've got some new friends, some friends I've never met. I know their father, and they live down in Arizona, just across the border from Utah, in a place we call the Arizona Strip. It's really, really beautiful desert country, beautiful mountains. It's very, very scenic, tiny little towns down there. So I want to give a special, there's so many names, I'm going to have to cheat and look at my list, but I know you're out there. Alice, Serenity, Devin, Emma, and Kinsley. Howdy, welcome to the show. I know you've watched at least one other show, so welcome. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. One of my very, very favorite books from my childhood was The Ship That Sailed to Mars. It was only ever published in a small edition in Great Britain with beautiful hand calligraphed pages and hand tipped plates, and it's been out of print for almost 100 years. It was originally published in 1923. This is the back cover picture, and so I'm going to read it to you. It's not too long, but we can't do it all tonight, so I'm going to try and get through part 1, hopefully by the break. And then as if you've watched the show before, you know that I always try to have a cookie during the break from one of my cookie jars. And if you're regular viewers or watchers of the show, you'll remember that something happens every week and I don't get my cookie. And I'll have a special guest that I'll introduce at the break too. Okay, so William Timlin was a British man that spent most of his life and career in South Africa. And he only wrote this one book, The Ship That Sailed to Mars. He wrote it, he illustrated it, and he hand calligraphed it too. I'll show you what I mean if you know what calligraphy is or not. Here's his original title page. And this is obviously printed in the book, but it's his own handwriting. He hand lettered the book and drew these beautiful so this is, the man is a scientist, and that is a sailing ship, and he built the sailing ship so he could sail to Mars. He had a bunch of elves in his laboratory, and they helped him build the ship. So that's what we're going to read about tonight. The Ship That Sails to Mars, Part 1. The Shipbuilder. Although it was difficult to believe, the old man had not always been old. In his dim, forgotten youth, he said, "I will go to Mars, sailing by way of the moon and the more friendly planets." But those around him, the scientists and astronomers, some cried out in scorn, "Have we not ever taught you that Mars is 30,000 miles away and nothing could ever live on a journey there?" Then he asked them quickly, "Could a fairy go?" And they left him muttering in their beards as they went, for they had no faith or any belief in fairies. Therefore he had taken his leave of men and men's ways, and had spent his long lifetime in a sleepy office in a dull, dark street, passing his waking hours in strange dreams of poring over weird and ancient books, and always and ever planning a ship to sail to Mars. By reason of his faith, the fairies came to him, and he chose those with cunning skill as craftsmen to help him, and started a shipyard. All round him in his office were dusty fragments of his glittering, ineffectual dreams, and here and there little fragile machines coiled their fairy springs, or spun unheeded their golden wheels. Here's the old man in his office. It's hard to get straight. There. The shipyard. We'll go ahead and do this one at the first. Here is the shipyard. Yeah. The shipyard. His shipyard was not commented upon, for it was so long ago built that no one remembered the building of it, nor did they recollect that it had sprang up in a single night. A crystal dome at the back of his office, a sudden globe that gave his little house the appearance of having blown a bubble. And people gave it no more attention than those other ample miracles, like the wonders of dawn or the beauty of the stars that had been unnoticed in their midst forever. There in the shipyard, the old man's fairies worked untiringly, fashioning cunning models from the drawings supplied by him. From beautiful plans, they made beautiful ships that would not fly. Contented in his dreams, where no failure was a disappointment, so sure was he of ultimate success, the old man never heeded the grave procession of the years, nor ever required he aught of a man or woman. So his life was perhaps the happiest on earth. The ship. Upon a certain day it happened, just as the stars came flocking after the sun, that he finished a design for a ship that would really fly. He knew in his heart that this was the ship, and already he seemed to feel the dawn on Mars, and anon see its double moons wheeling through its ancient burnt-out stars. Therefore, to make assurance more certain, he set his craftsmen to work, and the model made was with exceeding difficulty restrained from disappearing skywards by the quickest possible way. In the forgetfulness of their elation, the fairies nearly lost a valued member of their community whose attention to duty was greater than his total weight. The ship almost sailed away with him. The planning of the ship. It is not to be thought the devising of the ship was immediate and easy, for a great amount of time was spent in discussion before it was settled as to what size the ship would be needed to take so many crew of a certain stature and so much provision of a certain weight. There was also that careful point to settle as to what presents they should bear to Mars, for the fairies have a legend regarding the dwellers there. And they think not as the astronomers do, that there are dubious things on Mars and unmentionable people. Moreover, they have known from the oldest times that on Mars there dwell those fairies who fled the moon when that unhappy planet cooled from sunny opulence to clearest shimmering ice. These matters settled, the old man made with loving care a big working drawing of the ship, and everything was marked down on it. It nearly came about that the drawing, of which they were all very proud, was spoilt by one of the fairies, who would persist in coloring it blue in the wrong places. The building of the ship. It went very quickly. Everyone was so interested, and beyond closing up one of their number in a cabin with no door, there were no mishaps or serious problems of construction to face. The wood of incredible lightness was brought through a trap door from the grove of a friendly gnome, and 2 or 3 old crones wove the sails of thread of swan's down and ornamented them with colors strung from peacocks' tails. Also, to them came the elf king's favorite metalworker, laden with richly carven plates of gold and ropes of sapphires and diamonds, and borne upon donkeys was a golden figurehead in the form of a triumphant phoenix. And Pan sent 2 quaintly graven caskets of classical form, an offering to Mars. In one was the ring of a happy woman's laugh, and in the other the quickening joy of an English spring. From all fairyland there came wondrous presents, whose use was hard to fathom, till all the shipyard gleamed with the misty radiance of silver and moonstone and the warm glow of ruby and amethyst. And the night was lit by the lamps the fireflies and glowworms kindle, and the work went on happily, unceasing from dawn to dawn. The manning of the ship. The ship now rose in all its gracious bulk from keel to deck, a thing of manifold delights, and much was it conjectured regarding who would occupy its 10 delectable cabins, or proudly strut along its fairy bridge. Not because of self, for he had forgotten how to act like men do with each other. The old man appointed himself captain of the ship, This was easy of performances, but there remained the difficult and delicate task of manning the ship. For everyone wanted to go, even the old crones who argued that their work was the most important part of the ship and their right of going the strongest. Then, for the sake of that peace and harmony so beloved of fairies, lots were drawn, and the crew was made up of those fortunates who drew the numbers from 1 to 10. The victualling of the ship. It is possible that the crew, in all its importance, had developed a certain pomposity that was undoubtedly difficult to live with, and this was the root from which sprang the confusion in victualling the ship. They all made out long lists of their favorite foods, and no one would give way to another's wish. Therefore it was so ordered that each should take what he wanted and eat it when and where he willed. The only thing they were unanimous about was their affection for milk, and to save space they stole a cow, and as sustenance for the cow took the green field too. This field with the cow in the middle was attached to the back of the ship at the end of a rope, so as to be towed behind in the form of a raft? That doesn't sound very practical to me, especially going all the way to Mars. The launching of the ship. The sail could not be hoisted in the shipyard, even with the roof off, so the captain ordered the ship to be drawn up, and it poised on the point of the dome like a sunlit cloud, which in fact the dull-witted passerbyers in that mean street took it to be. And if its radiance irritated their eyesight, in its beauty or strangeness never impressed them. With its sheen of ivory and gold and luster of emerald and sapphire, its peacock hangings and rose silk ropes, the ship was nearly as beautiful as a sunset. And very few people there were in that neighborhood who realized that night was heralded by a sun that slipped down readily through the smoke. The captain and the crew had the utmost difficulty in persuading the home-staying fairies to release the ropes, but at last the ship was free, and with a curtsy, it slid up on a sunbeam through the clouds. As they sailed past those impalpable towers that the westing wind had piled up, the captain and crew were fairly swollen with elation. They could not conceive of those dangers that they must inevitably meet, nor had they knowledge enough to turn their course aside from the sorrowful planet where tears as big as mountains are wrung from lowering purple clouds, nor for that repellent dwelling of hate, the Thunder City, amongst the iron hills of Mars, or from those other sinister things that, driven from inhabited spaces, brood in uncanny silences on ancient horrid stars, forgotten of the gods. The departure of the ship. Below on the earth, they saw that the farmer whose cow they had stolen, he was standing beside the depression in his land that had once been a perfectly good field with its invaluable cow. It was obvious that he was surprised, but there was also in him heavy indignation, and his pardonable irritation seemed of just that quality and strength to inevitably force him to take the portentous step of writing to the newspaper. Streaming towards him from the farm buildings like ants from a heap came his wife and family and faithful farm hands, the order of their coming being arranged by their varying turns of speed. Soon the ship was mounting the edge of the gloaming beyond view of anything, and up above a fairy floor of clouds. And that, boys and girls, is the end of part 1. That's all we'll read of The Ship That Sailed to Mars tonight. If you like it, we're going to finish it in a couple of more sessions. So, as you regular viewers will know, it's about break time, I think. And I have a new cookie jar tonight. And we're going to see, I haven't shown you the cookie jar yet. I got to put, this is the oldest cookie jar I own. And it's kind of a weird one. It's kind of broken. You can see here, we have Mickey Mouse, but look, it's Minnie Mouse. Hi, Minnie. Hi, Mickey. It's Minnie and Mickey Mouse in the same cookie jar. Of course, she got lost her ear. Poor old girl. So, yeah. I can almost smell the cookies. Okay, are there going to be cookies in the cookie jar? What do you say, Mickey? Huh? Cookies? Let's find out. Okay. Ooh, here. Miss Hezbollah? Oh, my stars and whiskers. How did you get in my cookie jar? This is Madame Hezbollah from Pogo, the Pogo Possum comics. I bet you guys never heard of Pogo, but you're gonna, because that's the hint. Okay, let me finish these cookies. Now, Bogard Hound, he's another character. Pogo. Churchy LaFemme, he's a little turtle. He's a little turtleback. He's another cartoon character from the Pogo comic strip. Oh, here's our old pal Porcupine. Oh, he's got a frown on his face. And that's Porcupine. And who else is in here? Oh, there we go. It's Pogo himself. How about that, boys and girls? The star of the comic strip, Pogo. I go, you go, everybody, and last but not least, Albert Alligator. Albert, you ate my cookie, didn't you, Albert? You were always stealing food, aren't you? You have a tapeworm or something. You're always eating the food. He's not admitting to eating my cookie. And that's it. No cookies in the lid. No cookies, again, no cookies for me. And that brings us to Pogo by Walt Kelly. Here's a book about Walt Kelly and the Pogo characters. Walt Kelly he was an artist and animator for the Walt Disney Company back in the 1930s and the 40s. And if you've ever seen a movie called Fantasia, Walt Kelly and many terrific artists worked on that movie. And in the 1940s, he started drawing for the Dell Comics and Walt Disney's Comics and Stories and a whole bunch of children's comic books back in the beginning in the 40s. In a comic book called Animal Comics, he created Pogo Possum and all of Pogo's friends like Churchy and Albert and Porky and the rest of them. And he created this comic strip that then it was a comic book, and then it became a comic strip in the newspapers, both in the daily newspapers and in the Sunday funnies. And it ran from the 1940s, all the way through 1970s, when the creator, Walt Kelly, passed away. So this is what the very first Pogo book looked like. And there's a picture of Walt Kelly, the creator. This is one of my favorite comic strips. I used to cut these out of the newspaper when I was a teenager and saved them. And then I would always there's 40 different Pogo books, and I have every single one of them. In 1950, Pogo ran for president. His slogan was, I go, you go, Pogo. Would you have voted for Pogo for president? Seems to me like we've lowered the bar enough that Possum might make a heck of a lot better president than what we have now. Oh, now I'm getting political. Better not do that. It's a kiddie show, right? I go, you go, everybody, Pogo. There is Albert the alligator. These are really, really fun books to read. A lot of the jokes will go right over your head. Here's Impollutable Pogo. And boy, Flynn, Lyra, you guys like puns, right? Oh man, they really come at you in the Pogo books. There's so many of them, you won't even notice them all. Pogo's Bats and the Bells Free. He even did a satire that would definitely go over the little kid's head. The John Birch Society. This is called the Jackass Acid Society Black Book. Yeah, it's more for the parental units out there. There's all manner of reprints of the Pogo books now. These big volumes reprint all of the great, terrific Pogo books from the 40s, from the 50s, and they're all in beautiful black and white, and some of them are in color. Well, I didn't get my cookie, but, oh, where did my guest go? Oh, it's right behind me. I have a guest. We usually like to have at least one guest per show. There's another stuff. This is Stego. Steggy or Stego. Mm-hmm. Hiya, kids. Hiya. I live down in the basement with the gun bear. Remember the gun bear from last week, boys and girls? So this is Steggy. He's been around here a long time. He kind of bunks with the bear from last week. They have a lot of fun conversations together. One of my favorite Pogo, Walt Kelly wrote an entire, my Pogo books are falling over. Before he created Pogo, he'd do all kinds of really fun fairy tale books. And his artwork is very, very distinctive, and it's beautiful. And he did hundreds and hundreds of comic books and fairy tales. I collect them all. Here's a great one. See that one? And these are all great full color. Really a lot of fun. And the artwork and the stories hold up pretty well. As I said, there were 40 different Pogo books, and this is one of them. He loved to do songs and nonsense verse, kind of like Lewis Carroll and Jabberwocky and all that good stuff that we read. This one is nothing but songs, and it has all the words, the lyrics, and the music too. So you could play along on your ukulele or your guitar or your fiddle. Or I can't read music myself, so it wouldn't do me much good. But you're probably more talented. So I'm going to read you one song because I think it really sums up Pogo. This is called Deck Us All with Boston Charlie. You guys, Flynn, Lyra, you've sung this version of the famous Christmas Carol before, right? You've done that. You guys know how... Here are several explanations of the origin of the carol that lurks behind the title of this book, each of them equally authentic. This is one of the most famous Christmas carols of all time, right? Let's see here. Is it? I should have, what did I do with my bookmark? This is, here we go. So, the old original Charlie. You ready? You ready? Deck us all with Boston Charlie, Walla Walla Wash, Kalamazoo. Nora's freezing on the trolley, Swallow dollar, cauliflower, alley-garoo. Don't we know? Oh, Arctic barrel, lullaby, lily boy, Louisville Lou. Trolley Molly, don't love Harold, Boola, Boola, Pensacola, hullabaloo. I promise you I'll try to remember not to sing again, okay? I'll try to remember not to. You've seen them words before, haven't you? See, this is Howland Owl and Churchy La Femme. It's kind of hard to show you these, so I'm just going to read them to you. Oh yes, indeedy, they has been seen, and I'll tell you what they mean. As is well known, the esteemed folklorist Professor Jiggs Potluck was old Professor Old Jiggs, old pot roast. Professor Jiggs Potluck was the man who first discovered the words to this carol, and they were Duckasall and bowls of barley, Hinky Dinky Dink and Polly Voo. Chilly Philly's name is Charlie, Charlie Philly's jolly chilly view, halloo, desist. And it goes on, and they get crazier and crazier. Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me who's the squarest of us all. The great un-American plan, a new twist on the pretzel queen. The mysterious stranger, stranger than friction. See, this is the uncivil rights of women. To arms, us women are revolting. There's lots and lots of puns in here. Music makes the fish grow flounder. You should check out your Pogo books. They're really, really good. At least I think so. Some laughs a day guaranteed to keep the doctor away, far away. The 5 major senses add up to a nickel's worth. The hindsight is where you wind up. Peace on earth, goodwill to the core. It's, anyhow. Pogo Possum by Walt Kelly. Maybe not one of your favorites. You have to get your toe dipped in the water and open one of the books and read them, and pretty soon you will be laughing out loud. When we were teenagers, I guess it was, we used to get together in my bedroom. Once I was old enough to get my own bedroom in the downstairs part in the basement of the house, I had all the Pogo books even then, and we would get together and do a Pogo readers theater, and each kid would take turns being, of course we'd fight over who got to play Pogo, or the major characters, Churchy and Albert and Pogo versus the minor characters. But we had a ball taking turns reading the Pogo stories out loud and trying to do the accents. And the type and the design in the books, the letters kind of vary from character to character, so each kind of alphabet type design is made for that character, and you try to imagine what that would sound like. It's hard to explain, but if you start reading the Pogo books, I think that you'll become addicted to them. There's 40 Pogo books plus all the new reprints and all the beautiful reprints of the non-Pogo Walt Kelly. And the Ship that Sailed to Mars. We're going to return to that in next week's episode. And so I think tonight's going to be a short one, Rebel Girl, because I don't think we should read more Ship that Sailed to Mars. So we're going to, I can read it, you guys, so I'll read it to myself. So until next week, tune in again. I think we'll keep trying to do 6 to 7-ish. If you have cookies in your house, maybe your mom and dad will let you have a cookie. Probably too close to dinner time though, huh? Oh well. So I hope you'll tune in next week, and we will we'll finish reading, or at least read some more in Ship that Sailed to Mars. And I'll have whole new authors. I'm not going to give you any hints right now, but it'll be in our social media and our news feed in a few days. Please visit the bookshop on the visit the bookshop at online or give us a call. See you next week.